Well, hello and welcome everyone to this combined GEG event. It's hosted by Maria Etheridge and I'm going to begin with acknowledgement of country. So I acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land. I acknowledge their elders past, present and emerging who were and continue to be the storytellers of this ancient land and its peoples. Now, I always love working with Maria. She's leader of GEG Lakes Entrance and Barnsdale in Victoria. So how are you, Maria? We haven't presented all year together.
Yeah, our first one for 2022. Exciting. I'm sure, like everyone else, we're all very busy already, hitting the ground running. But it's good to take a breath and share.
So you've been really busy over the past few months. Did I see an announcement somewhere that you've recently received an acknowledgement for all your hard work teaching in Victoria?
Yeah, I've just started, I had my first conference today for the Teacher Excellence Program. So it used to be Bastow Institute and now it's called Victoria Academy. And it's the very first one ever. So there'll be 250 teachers.
How many teachers?
250.
Out of Victoria?
Yeah, in both Catholic, independent, state, secondary, primary, and then you choose your discipline area. Of course, mine's technologies. So I'm really, really excited about it because I'm regional coastal. So to network with people outside of my four walls is exciting, and we don't often get this opportunity. So.
Oh, absolutely. Now, I've just noticed that we've got Google in the house this afternoon. Warm welcome to the Sydney Program Manager, Google for Education, Chris Betcher. Welcome aboard.
Hi, Leslie. Thank you. Yeah, good to be here. Thanks, everyone, for letting me hang out with you guys.
Yeah, thanks so much. You're great support, always. So Maria and I are excited to welcome our very good friends, Juliet Bentley and Claire Furlong, who are presenting this afternoon. So I'm going to introduce Claire first. Welcome, Claire.
Hi, Leslie. Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
So, Claire, you work out of Melbourne, Victoria as a digital technology leader and creative arts coordinator.
That's right.
Yeah. And so recently you've gone through the Google Certified Innovator Program, VIA 20. That's what you're going to be sharing with us this afternoon, I gather.
That's right. My primary music classroom website, which was designed to answer some, hopefully, or address some issues with having access and spending hours and hours searching for what we needed to be able to produce the next day during remote learning.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. I think it's interactive too. So
it is. So watch out, everyone. Get your fingers, your hands, your knees, everything ready. They'll all be in action later on.
Okay. And you're also a Google certified trainer of recent months.
That's right. Yes. 4 out of 5 badges. 1 more to go, Leslie.
Yes, I know. We're working on that one together.
We are.
So how has gaining the trainer certification, has that made an impact on your staff?
I have. It's obviously busy at the beginning of the year. And this has been something that I've been doing for a couple of years now, is leading and planning and delivering the digital technology training at school, both in workspace and beyond that. Mm-hmm. So Seesaw, Soundtrap, all those other sorts of additional platforms, Edpuzzle and the like. So it's really great now to have that extra badge. The children are very pleased. I had one grade 2 last year ask me, Mrs. Furlong, why have you got 3 badges and the other teachers have only got 1 or 2? And I said, well, that's because this is number 5, Sebastian. And he said to me, well, that's lovely. That must be the hardest one. But where's 3 and 4, Mrs. Furlong? Surely they should be easy for you to get. You better get on with that. Out of the mouths of babes. So
absolutely. They'll keep you on your toes.
They certainly will.
So one last thing, did I read somewhere that you're a member of Carols by Candlelight Choir?
I am. That's something that I've done for the last 3 years, which is just amazing to stand on that stage at Sydney Myer Music Bowl and sing on Christmas Eve with, 350 of your by then closest friends, because you spend a lot of time together rehearsing in the lead up. It's just fabulous, just really lovely. And then we all come back together. It's a real family feel.
What an experience.
Each year.
So that was published by, was it Channel 9, wasn't it?
Yes, it's telecast by Channel 9. And there was actually a really lovely story in The Age last Christmas in the lead up to it about two of the long-term choristers, and they put in the virtual video from the year before, from 2020, when only 80 people could sing and some others were selected, and I was fortunate enough to do that. We had to pre-record ourselves singing the Hallelujah chorus, and if you manage to find that story in The Age, I'm actually front and centre on that video snap.
I'm writing it down now. Well, I'll look it up.
Oh, so much fun. Yeah.
Okay, last but not least, Juliet Bentley, working in Brisbane, Queensland. You're a teacher of English and religion, Google innovator, trainer, and Adobe education leader. And you're joining us in the certified coach cohort as well.
I am. I think Claire's keeping me company as we do these different sorts of opportunities.
Absolutely. What a team.
Well, she keeps me honest.
Absolutely. I was a bit concerned when I saw your emoji with the knife. And I thought, yeah, okay. And then I realised that, you really love to cook.
I do.
Where did all this passion come from?
I grew up in a house where I was one of 6 children, and my mother used to feed everybody. And she had this wonderful ability, when you said, "No, thank you, Betty," she would get the spoon and keep dolloping. There was never, ever an end to the food that was on our table, and it just stretched. So I think I probably fell in love with that at my mother's knee, basically.
Right. So you're not a strict recipe gal?
No. I'm more inclined to go out for dinner, try something I really love, and make memories of those dishes by going home and trying them again.
Oh, wow.
And then, of course, taking photographs as I go, because, it's a bit of fun, and using the Google photo animation tool to make a short GIF. So that's a bit of a giggle.
Oh, that's great.
It's just fun.
Great. So, there's so tell me something about this stuffed pumpkin flowers with blue cheese, potato.
They were absolutely delectable, and it was a wonderful meal and pretty special. So stuffed pumpkin. I've never tried that before. And they are really fiddly.
So I hear you're catering for the GEG Australia and New Zealand workshop.
Only if I can include single malt whiskies as well.
So I know it's virtual, but I am looking for a care package. That's $20.
Green and mouldy by the time it reaches you. Terribly sorry.
You're going to hear from these lovely people in a few moments. I'm just going to put my timer on, making sure that I don't talk too long. My session is about Twitter, and I'm only going to give a very simple overview. And I'd really like to run a simple Twitter chat as we are going through this afternoon. So Twitter, I use Twitter for free professional development 24/7. It's an online marketing tool, social networking. Now, I use an analogy here on this mid-north coast. We have a lot of rivers that go into flood. The Macleay River travels about 300 kilometres from the northern tablelands, and it empties out just north of where I'm sitting here. And when a river is in flood, you don't enter the river in flood. And I try and tell people that Twitter can be like that. Don't enter into the middle of it if you don't know what you're doing. Go to the edge of it. If you're thirsty, go to the edge of it, take something there and take it back to your community to share. You don't have to wade out in the middle of it. So just little sips at the Twitter stream is quite okay. With the Twitter platform, it's really a place where, people can communicate in short messages. We call them tweets. It's a blend of instant messaging, as I said there, and microblogging and texting, but it has a concise content to a really broad audience, if you wish. I'm going to go to the next slide here. we're going to look at a Twitter chat. We're going to engage in a Twitter chat. It's basically a public discussion area based on a specific topic. It's public and it's moderated either by a single person or a team. Today, I'm the moderator. And usually we have pre-written questions, which I do have. And, you know, Juliet and Claire and Maria have given me their questions that they want me to use. And this acts as a prompt for the conversation. Usually a Twitter chat is scheduled. I'm not scheduling this. So no safety net here tonight, because I want to be able to publish one of those Twitter chats straight after each mini presentation. They're often held live for about an hour, and they're advertised in advance. We didn't quite do that. We're just easing you into it here. But we do need a hashtag for participants to follow, and I'm going to share that hashtag with you. And what a hashtag does is it really helps an audience focus on that one topic. And the hashtag we're going to use is GEG program, because we belong to the GEG community all over the world. And as I said, that the Twitter chat's are live, but if the Twitter chat is still, and we'll leave it in my stream under my account, so people later on in another time zone can actually start to join in as well, and then that becomes what we call a slow chat. So let's have a look at the anatomy of Twitter chat, and I'll just share that tab instead. You should be able to see that now. So this is, I know I've got the old GEG Global logo, apologies, but this is what a Twitter chat does and how it behaves. You first opportunities is that you introduce yourself and you use the hashtag. We're using GEG program. And each person will present a question. Question 1 is answered with answer 1. So it helps to organise the conversation. And replying to others, you could also tag someone in it by just putting the @mention symbol in front of that person's name if they do have an account, because you might want to be able to give that person a bit of a heads up that this is an interesting conversation. Pop in and have a look at that. So we're going to be able to do those two things. We're going to have a Twitter chat, we're going to have a hashtag GEG program, and we're going to answer some questions, and you can tag someone if you would like them to respond. So I'm just going to share, this is my profile here, and here are examples of hashtags. So this is not live, this is only an image. And if I clicked on this on my account, that would take me into all the conversations for Google Education. This one here, hashtag Sydney19, is our hashtag for our Innovator Academy Sydney 19, where I met Maria, and so forth. You can see all of the hashtags there. So if I go back to, see where I am up to. So I'm not going to go there. I'm going to go to the next one. I think we might start one. So the first one I've got, I'm going to go to my account here, which I changed, of course, because we were talking. And I'll go to my account. So what I've done here is I've invited people, I've alerted people that there will be a Twitter chat going on, and we're going to have these at the moment. This is the presentation, Twitter chats. Then there's session 2, session 3, and of course Moat. And I've tagged Maria into it. I'm going to annoy Maria and say, listen, this might be really something interesting for you to come and have a look at. So I'm going to create you think, where did I put it? Here it is here. I'm just going to create a new what's happening. This is question 1, Twitter chats. So let's get started, and you need to answer this question with an answer 1. So when you do you reply to it, you will just going to get my desktop, and we're going to go for question 1. I'm going to open it up. There's question 1. So what I'd like you to do is to introduce yourself. Answer 1, A1, your name, your role, location, and what is your Twitter comfort level? Is it a 1 or a 2 or a 3 or a 4? And don't forget, respond, answer 2 there. And don't forget to respond with the GEG program. So I'm just going to get that going now. And if you're not sure how to find this, what I'm going to do, you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to share this, copy the link, and I'm just going to pop it in the chat here. Look, did it go?
Hey, Leslie.
Yesy.
Can I give you a tip that I discovered because I learned this the hard way? I use Twitter chats a lot, partly for education, but also when I'm being an old man shaking fist at television. Like if I'm watching something on the TV, like, I don't know, MasterChef or one of those shows, and they'll have a hashtag where you can follow along the back channel while you're watching the TV show.
Okay.
And like, I know that's not the educational use, but like lots of people do it. But one of the things that that caught me out, when you look at the hashtag for the conversation, at the very top it says top tweets, latest tweets, and it defaults to top tweets. And I could never understand why I'm looking at this Twitter stream and like I'm not actually seeing the tweets coming up. And then I realized you've got to click on latest, otherwise top tweets is just going to show you like the most popular, but they may not be the most recent.
Okay, so they could have been tweeted like an hour ago and you're tweeting now and you want to see the responses to yours now.
Exactly.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you.
It's all right. Well, there you go. I learned the hard way.
There you go. Love it. All right, so I've just popped that in there now, and what you would do is you would, am I still, yes, I would reply here. It's a Q1, so I'm going to answer 1, and I'm going to, so Leslie Altman, New South Wales, and, you know, really, I'm still a 3. I'm still a 3. I'm just going to put 3 there. And, oh, I need to do the hashtag. GEG program, and that's all we'll be doing throughout this session. So I'm going to tweet that now. I didn't tag anyone in this first one, but you might find some interesting pieces of conversation as this session unfolds. So I'm going to now work back to. So we've got next, we've got Claire. Claire next on our slide deck. I'm going to go back to sharing this. I'll give you a presentation here. So I'm going to go to, oh no, Juliet. Sorry, Claire's worried now. So Juliet, welcome. And do you want me to stop sharing? You want to take over?
That would be lovely. Thank you very much. You threw me then, actually. We got there far faster than I expected.
I'd lost all my notes, just, you know.
Oh, that's okay. I mean, that's one of the things I think we can most enjoy and appreciate is the fact that we are very much flexible creatures. So we have to be able to cope with whatever life throws at us.
I'm definitely
so I'm going to
share. I'm going to turn my mic off. Just before I do, hi Mary, I've just seen you pop in.
Hiya, Mary. And so I'm going to share my screen with you and go to the slideshow. We're looking basically today, my offering is how I use and have used writers to create global connections. And perhaps it's important to understand that when I started the Writers Club at the school over 12 years ago now, I started with 5 students meeting for 40 minutes every Friday. And that was fantastic, week 1. Week 2, I had 20 students meeting for an hour, and that really wasn't sufficient. So week 3, I had 28 students for 2 hours. And for the last 12 years, every Friday during term time, we have Writers Club. And the thing I think that makes it so successful is that it's an opportunity for students to find a tribe, to learn about their own authorial voice, be in a space that's safe where they can play, and there is nothing to do with school really about it. There's no checking spelling and syntax in terms of a teacher looking down and judging. It's a space, a safe place where writers can come together, write in whatever genre they like, I throw them stimulus and I throw them different forms, but it really is a challenge by choice. And so students who may not speak for the first 2 years will often evolve into young performers and writers who not only are comfortable sharing their thoughts, they know how to deliver them, but they're also very good at showing critique as well. And the idea of having an international project really came from my involvement with a group called Write the World. Now you'll notice with all of with the 4 slides I have, I've hyperlinked everything. So you can go back. This is seriously a very light dip into all of the different things that I've been doing, because they're the sorts of things you may want to go back and get some ideas from. In all cases, I've used the tools that are available to me. I'm not an IT teacher, so I'm working with the tools I have. I've discovered and learned the Google tools. I'm an Adobe education leader. I use Adobe as well. And the thing I love about the marriage between the two is that they sit so beautifully together. So making something in Adobe Creative Cloud Express, when I save it or share it, I can share it directly to a Google Classroom or a Microsoft Teams, which is what my school tends to use. So I'm going to show you, sorry, that's not what I was going to show you at all. I was going to show you the link to Write the World. Now, Write the World is a platform where I piloted it good part, 10 years ago. Students from around the world can work together and collaborate and compete in a platform that allows them to critique one another, but to learn the process of evaluating their own work and other people's. Teachers can make them into small groups, and you can monitor your own group. I used it initially just for my writers. And then when I realized that my students were getting their work published in an international journal and were engaging in a meaningful way with students from other countries, it made me excited. And so I went along to present at a conference in Singapore, EduTech Asia. And while I was there, I was approached by a lady from the Asia Europe Foundation who invited me to Helsinki to talk about writers and this global group that I had going. Little did I realize that that was going to turn into something a lot bigger. And so what happened was I ended up going to Helsinki and I talked to people about the project that I was playing with, and they asked me to run one for the Asia Europe Foundation. Now, there were 30 projects running at this time. So I was one of 3, well, I wasn't, my group was one of 3 that gained gold awards. And I'm going to let you know that the volume on this may be a little bit light, so I won't play very much of it, but I do invite you to come in and listen. You might want to turn your volume up, but I'd like you to hear from the students about what they've been doing. And so you can see how taking something that's an extracurricular opportunity and seeing the benefits of learning about other cultures. And here we go. Let me introduce you.
Aim to engage self-identified student writers in a global writing community to write for pleasure.
We actually sent postcards,
peers in Asia and Europe.
photographs,
This
presents.
collaboration aimed to build empathy and a sense of urgency among young writers to develop a greater understanding of themselves within their culture, but also the commonalities they share.
And while we no longer have Tour Builder, I now use Google Earth projects. It gives us an opportunity to see so much more of the lives each group lives, the places that they live. They can share photographs, text, videos. It's really very special. Now, unfortunately, I had a throat issue at this time, which is why I'm soft.
Hi everyone, my name is Jen and I'm from Mount St Michael's in Brisbane, Australia. I'm absolutely thrilled to be embarking on this experience through which I can share my passion, my love for writing with other students across the world. It's completely amazing. I have loved to write since I was little, my first piece being written on the back of a fish and chips menu. But as I have been welcomed into and supported by my school's Writers Club, I've been able to better shape my voice as a writer and as a reader of other work. Writing for me is a place of quiet and fulfillment in which I can explore the infinite ways in which we can use words to tell stories of adventure, dreams, and love. My motivation is entirely this, that many writers out there are willing to take the time to read my work and help me strive towards better work and a polished voice as a writer.
Namaste from India. I am Ms. Lisha Manoj, an English teacher from St. Mark's Senior Secondary Public School, Meerabad, New Delhi, India. I'm very excited to be a part of this wonderful project, which will help connect with.
So as you can see, we had not only the students, but the teachers involved. And we had, in this situation, over 24, 25 schools participating. And you get to see them a little bit further on when the students share their writing. This was a young lady from Finland. But then it led into the girls talking about using Flipgrid to learn about one another. Now, as I said, this is just one example of a project that can offer so much more than what we can do in the classroom sometimes. However, it is something that can be applied in the classroom. So, having a little look at Postcards from the Edge, that was a fabulous experience. We shared letters. We used Google Drive to be the central spot for sharing documents because all of the schools had access to Google. So that made life very, very easy. We used Google, as I said, Google Tour Builder, which has been retired. And it was really important that we made an opportunity for kids to be able to see each other and to have that really rich opportunity to work. Now, Postcards from the Edge was one of 30 projects. I was then invited to lead another project with Maria Silva from Portugal, and we looked at the Sustainable Development Goals. Now, this was 2020. Now, we all know what happened in 2020. Yes, the Sustainable Development Goals were looked at, students engaged with them. I'll show you an example. Each of the pages, again, using Google Sites, because Google Sites is a fantastic repository and very easy to manage. I was able to provide some stimulus, but then the students responded. So students from Portugal built apps. Other ones wrote responses. And it was wonderful to see. But the other thing that happened was obviously that we had the outbreak of COVID very early in the year. And again, we had to pivot. So I used the site to create, using actually Adobe Spark, which is now Creative Cloud Express, mindfulness videos and choice boards. So the students could not only be engaged, they could engage with one another, they could share activities, and that's basically what they did. And they were all sorts of things. We had drawings and cartoons, and I was able to upload some of that material to them. But the best bit, I think, was seeing, as I had tried to do, the students going into creative mode. Yes, the intention was that there would be creators, but when they started to support each other, that's when I knew that the community that I was building was really very rich and authentic. And so the students started to create blogs and hint tips and posters and postcards, all to support one another as they experienced COVID and being in lockdown. So the school that you saw before, St. Mark's, they were in lockdown for over 18 months. Those students were incredible, and I'm going to introduce you to one of them very shortly. But they created blogs and they created stories, and they really did support one another in a very special way. They wrote about it in all sorts of ways. So having the opportunity to create global connections doesn't have to be something that remains external to the classroom, because it does allow for movement into the classroom. Now, I am a Google innovator now.
Hoje aqui é nós ir pro cana, é o que mata a nossa sede. O uísque pra nós é nós leva a vida de cheio. Mengalão só cruza nova, meu piloto.
I think that was rather strange. I wonder what happened. I might just get rid of that just in case. I don't think anybody else came up. Let me go back to, I don't know where the sound came from. Students' camera action was the next creature. It was the next iteration, because once we got used to COVID and came to terms with how we had to live with it, we could actually start to see that the Sustainable Development Goals didn't stop. And as part of my Innovator project, I had originally started with a writers project, wanting to see schools around the world create writers clubs that could communicate with each other. But in the process of Innovator, I pivoted and joined with Alex McMillan to create Students' Camera Action. And it was really important because Chris Hart always says, you know, hold an idea lightly. And that's so it's got room to breathe and evolve. And that's really what's happened with this. So Students' Camera Action is a website and a video news program, basically, created by students for students, again, hosted in the website, you know, Google Sites. As you can see, they really are very handy. You can go through, you can become involved if you'd like. You'll find the guidelines, you'll find the forms. The Google Forms made life so much easier, and it's wonderful to be able to use Sheets to gather that information. Going back to the episodes, we have one episode uploaded. We have the second very close to completion, and the third is underway. And you are invited to join us, particularly with the third one, because we're looking for one more school, preferably in Asia. We've got Changes in Our World, Women's Rights, 21st Century Learning is coming up. The idea is that students share their thoughts, share not only what their nation's doing, what they're doing locally, but what individual students can do. And supporting and underpinning these are the general capabilities activities for each episode. So a teacher might choose to just use a short video, and I will show you a short bit very soon. But they might decide to show India talking, Kunan from New Delhi talking about his school and what they're doing, and the great big fat Indian wedding, which he talks about, or Brian in North Korea, or the girls in Mount St. Michael's. But when you go to the curriculum links, I just want to draw your attention to the fact that in Google Docs, we know that we can use contents pages and that can lead us down. But if we want to go into a part of the document and we want to go back up, it allows us, by putting hyperlinked footnotes, we are actually able to move through the document very easily. And so I could go back to intercultural thinking. Oops, a daisy. That was me being a bit of a wally. I didn't get into the right spot. Intercultural thinking. And it takes me there. Now, going back to Students' Camera Action, I just want to show you a little bit so you can see what the students were doing and the point for doing this. These ideas are ones that you might choose to do as a curricular thing or not. They may just trigger for you some opportunities. But if we want to have global citizens, we actually have to create opportunities for that to happen. And so I'm going to let you see a little bit of this video to see what you think and let you meet the students.
Welcome to Students' Camera Action. Hello and welcome to Students' Camera Action. Today's episode is brought to you by Mount St. Michael's College, Brisbane, Australia, St. Mark's School, New Delhi, and the Chadwick International School, South Korea. My name is Claire, and my co-hosts are Phoebe, Evie, Adeline, and Esther. And today we will be exploring the UN Sustainable Development Goal 12, the responsible production and consumption of goods, and the implications of SDG 2, zero hunger. You may be wondering, what is SCA? In short, Students' Camera Action is a global student news program where we share a common theme and offer our perspectives in a regular YouTube stream video. Students' Camera Action, SCA, has broad goals that aim to integrate into most schools' curriculum, core values and mission. The project's mission is to advocate for human dignity, justice, solidarity, tolerance, and ethical treatment of the earth and its inhabitants. And the vision is that the student-driven project leads to global conversations advocating for change so that we might work together to meet the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. The values of SCA.
And so If I move you through, you get to meet Kunan in India, and then later Brian. But equally, the students get the chance to stop and have a conversation, have a discussion, meet one another, see what's happening in the world. They make the short videos, and each school has an opportunity to host. So it doesn't become the onerous task of one school. It gives everybody an opportunity to be a participant and a creator. And that really is my time. But I do want to end very briefly, very quickly, with the last point, which is the takeaways. Use Google Sites as a repository. You can share. One of the biggest things we have to do, I think, is to learn to support one another. So sharing resources, creating, inspiring one another to challenge and try different things. I have learned how to create interactive slides. I love using slides. Use the Google Drive for global projects. Make the most of the tools that are available to you. Make the connections. And I've got to say, identify opportunities. See people as being just touchstones for one another, and see where you might be able to take a global perspective, maybe a responsibility for the world we live in, into your classrooms and into your extracurricular. And that is it for me. So let me.
Thank you so much, Juliet. There's a lot there, and you're going to really enjoy those links. I'll put the slide deck in the calendar invitation. I can see, people nodding and writing things down. So I'm just going to present a tab. Lost it. Which one here? This one, I think. Yes, I'll share that one now. So Juliet posed this question for you all. What might be the benefits of students making global connections with peers around the world? So what I'm going to do, I've already popped it into my Twitter stream, and I've put the link in here so you can get there quickly. Please, and this time try and tag someone, because we'd really love people to add to this conversation, and follow Juliet if you're not following. Let me see. So now we have, this time we have, I'm denying all these people, there's 12 people who want to play up. So welcome, Claire, and over to you. You're right for presenting now.
I'm all good. Thank you, Leslie. That's fantastic. So following on from Juliet, how do you follow that, really? I should know better by now. So I'm going to present to you also my VIA 20 Innovator project from now 2 years ago. It's a bit frightening. It's been that long. And mine is on a totally different tangent to Juliet's. My background, obviously, or my current teaching role is in primary music. So when, again, COVID put a spanner in the works back in early 2020, and we went into remote learning, living in Melbourne, the world winner of lockdown and remote teaching, we were all immediately thrown into, what do we do here? I'm very fortunate that where I teach is a Google reference school with a one-to-one Chromebook program. So I won't say it was easy, but it was fairly seamless in that we were able to flip over and have our students online within a couple of days and running our teaching. But it posed the problem, as a creative arts teacher or performing arts teacher, how on earth do you take your live music lessons where the children are performing, interacting? How on earth do you take that and turn it into a computer, put it in a computer, and still make it meaningful? So that was actually my project I took to the Innovator Academy. And from that, Primary Music Classroom was born, and I forgot to present that. So let me just present my tab to you. And it looks like we're having internet issues at my end. So I apologise. Can you see that? There we go. Finally woken up. Sorry. And I can't even blame the 18-year-old on his gaming because he's not home. So that's normally my excuse. So Primary Music Classroom is .com. is my website that I created as part of my Innovator project. So what I'm going to do tonight is I'm going to walk you through my website and show you some of the many hours that I use to put together to pull things from different places to create a resource platform for teachers, so they had one place to go rather than spending 10 hours after you finish teaching every day trawling YouTube and trawling the internet and trying to find something meaningful that you could then use the next day in your music classes online with remote learning. So I'm going to flip to a new tab and show you the website. Here it comes. All right, so Primary Music Classroom is what developed out of part of that. And there are lots of different parts to this, as you can see. I've created a number of different video resource pages, apps and websites, interactive games, and so on. So people can actually just jump on. The idea was jump on, find what you need, grab something that you can instantly translate into your class teaching, your lessons in the next 10 minutes. So using Google Sites obviously was amazing. Everything was in there, everything was really usable, and you could jump in there. So I'm going to take you for a little tour. And then once we've done a little tour together, we're going to have a little try at a couple of the interactive activities. So warm those hands up, because we're going to do some body percussion shortly all together. See if anyone can keep up. It's hysterical. The funniest thing you've ever seen is watching a grade 3 class try and do this all together. All right, so let me take you for a tour first so you can see a few of the little bits and pieces that are here. So if I jump into my apps and websites page, here we go. What I put together were things that people could grab and use, know that it was safe, know that it had been curated by a teacher who was working at primary level. There are lots of different things in here, so I'm just going to scroll really quickly. Thank you, Maria's put the link in the chat, and it's also in the slides, so you can jump in and have a much better look later on. I know that I don't have very long, and you know I like to talk, so I'm trying to keep it fast and together. So just to demo a couple of things really quickly. Playxylo.com is one of my favorites. I'm just going to take you here really quickly. This allows the kids at home, and it's just jumped to a new tab. Here we go. It allows them at home to be able to play a live instrument. Have a listen to this. So they had their own xylophone at home. So they actually had something they could play with. We made that work in some of our lessons that we did. So I'm going to jump back to the list. So I know this is really quick, but we're just jumping through. Chrome Music Lab is another favorite that is just fabulous. And yes, Mary, you can use that whenever you like. You can just give them the link. Just make sure it's whitelisted, because some schools find that it's actually not whitelisted for them. That was an issue we ran into at one point. But yeah, amazing. Chrome Music Lab's another one that's fabulous. My kids love the Song Maker in there, and that's really easy even with junior primary kids, and it doesn't cost anything. The other one I use is Soundtrap, but you have to pay for that. So the other part of what I put together with this was, let's find basic tools that are actually free to use so that any teacher can grab them. There's not a budgetary concern with it. Some of the packages, obviously, to get the full thing, you have to pay a little bit, but these versions are all free to use, which is just fabulous. So really accessible. So Chrome Music Lab's another one. I'm sure everyone's had a little bit of a play with Blob Opera, which the kids just adore. Fabulous, lots of fun. And then there are lots of other sites around that you can go to. Classicforkids.com's great, and so on. So that was just a list that's forever growing of some quick links you can jump to. So a bit of a resource. And I'm going to take you now to my favorite part, which is my video resources page. And on this one, there are lots of, here we go, lots of different things that you can literally jump out. So loving that you can use the sub pages on a Google site, so you can separate it out. It's much easier to find. You're not crawling through and scrolling through 300 miles of something to find what you need. I'm going to jump into my body percussion page and show you a little bit in here, and also the rhythm reading. So I might go rhythm reading first, and we'll come back so that we can, hopefully we've got time, have a go at our bim bum that the girls have maybe promised I will do with you tonight. So you'll notice there are lots of different resources in here, and I've linked to different YouTube channels. So while there's a little taster to give an idea, and I have had some of my colleagues in Melbourne go, Claire, you saved me with this website during remote learning. I would just go in and play direct from your website. I said, that's great, but the idea is that it's a bit of a taster. You have a look, and there's so much more in all of these channels that you can also use and then go beyond. So there's lots of things that you can do. These are a few of the YouTube channels I came across. So lots of different things to play with. My kids love when it comes up in the Hall of the Mountain King, because there is a little gnome that jumps through and they have to clap the rhythm. I don't think it's going to come through for us just at the minute. Oh, here it comes. So in this little one, the king jumps and the little gnomes get bopped by the notes, and they think that's hilarious, but they're actually reading rhythm. So there is actual learning content behind here, and they're learning beat, rhythm, and all those things. So few little things on this one. I'm going to take you back up to Bim Bum, see if it's going to wake up for us. It's not looking like it is, so I might have to jump back to the slides to do this one. But again, let's see if I can jump back. Oh, here it comes. So again, lots of fantastic things that are out there that you can use, and you can just grab from here. You can right click, as we know, on the video clip and collect the link and then drop it straight into Google Classroom. So like Jules, I've got a few little tips coming up for you in a second on how best to use it in your program. But yeah, lots here, lots of different pages. This is a little taster snapshot. There are about another 10 or so pages that you can actually explore on the website to have a look at. But no, Chris is ready. Excellent. No, you don't need your microphone on, Maria. You just need your hands, because we'll get incredible feedback otherwise. But get ready. Get ready. I'm going to jump back to the slides so that we can do it in there. But that's a very quick, very basic taster of what you'll find on my website. And you can just grab and go, quite literally. It's like a free supermarket for your music program. And you can also use them in a mainstream classroom. So lots of teachers use these rhythm ones. And I am just going to jump back and show you the body percussion, because these ones are awesome for in your classroom as a brain break. The kids love them. And I actually went to introduce one to one of my grade 1 classes, and they went, Mrs. Furlong, we've done this. I went, what do you mean you've done this? Oh, well, Mr. Morris got this up at lunchtime. I went, right, well, I'm going to have to talk to Mr. Morris, because that's part of my music program. Anyway, so it's great to see the other teachers at school are jumping in and using all these sorts of things too. Apologies for the slow internet connection. Normally we have an amazing connection here, but it's obviously having a bit of a holiday. But yeah, these are what we call body percussion. So clapping, clicking, tapping your knees, stamping, all those sorts of things that all the kids love. So this is another page, and there's lots and lots more. This is just a little bit of an idea. They love do the dinosaur that Cuckoo Kangaroo do, which is pretty cool. The other one they love is just about to appear, which is the Ghostbusters. So it allows me to get my 80s on, and they get to dance and have a bit of fun. So it's pretty cool. Jumping back, we're going to get busy now. I hope your hands are out and ready to go. Yep, Chris is nodding at me. Excellent. All right. Have fun and good luck. It starts off slow, but I promise to get quicker.
So, can you hear that sound?
Bim bum, bim bum, bidi bidi bum.
Bim bum, bidi bidi bum.
Bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bim bum, bim bum, bidi bidi bum.
Bim bum, bidi bidi bum.
Bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bim bum, bidi bidi bum.
Bim bum, bidi bidi bum.
Bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bim bum, bidi bidi bum.
Bim bum, bidi bidi bum.
Bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bim bum, bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Bum, bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum. Bim bum, bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum. Bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum. Bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum. Bim bum, bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum. Bim bum, bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum. Bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum. Bim bum, bidi bidi bum, bidi bum, bidi bidi bum, bim bum.
Oh, Claire, that kills me every time.
I do recommend a little bit of practice before you pull it out with your students, so you don't look really embarrassed and you're better than they are.
I was just
But
really disappointed that what the recording will show is just the screen. It won't show you all you guys doing your bitty bum.
Oh, that was so funny. That was so
It's
Right,
so
I was
much-
so confused that the picture of the person holding their bum wasn't actually the bum; it was the biddy.
But it's lots of fun. A couple of my other favorites that you'll find on there on the body percussion page, the Ghostbusters. So Mary, pull that one out tomorrow. Your kids will love it. That one's great. Under the Sea's good too. Just watch out, second 19. It gets a bit glitchy sometimes, but there are lots of really fun ones in there. And the Dinosaur for Cuckoo Kangaroo is another favorite with my junior primaries and even older. They just love it, and they're having hysterics. So there we go. Hopefully useful not just to music teachers everywhere, but have a bit of an explore and a bit of a play and have lots of fun.
That is so good. I just put Claire's question in there, question 3, which of the interactive activities will you try out with your students? And it's question 3, and I put answer 2 in there because I changed it 3 times yesterday. So sorry. It is question 3, answer 3. So enjoy that. Look, that was great, Claire. Thank you so much.
It's a bit of fun. And I do have I don't know if it'll come up for me now, but there is a slide that I added, but I'll just talk about it really fast. A couple of tech tips, I guess, useful tips on how to use those. Make sure, as we said, you either load it in Google Classroom or Google Slides or a Google Site so that it will take out the ads, because that's always an issue at school. You don't quite know what you're going to get with YouTube, which can be an issue. And, use a site to collect them all together, because it's a great way to do it, either a Google Site or a resource classroom, which we just launched at school with all our teachers. They're using their resource classrooms to put everything into, so it's easy to use. And that way then you know when you click on a video in Google Classroom, it's going to be ad-free, it's going to be safe, and your students are still in your domain, which is fantastic too. So they're my little tips. So they can be used anywhere, as I said. And having everything housed in one place makes it super easy and super safe, which is always a major consideration in your classroom, that you're not going to end up with some unfortunate advert appearing partway through or at the beginning or at the end. So there we go. That's my little tips for today.
Thank you so much, Claire. That was fabulous.
Thanks, Leslie.
So I've just popped in the link to the Twitter chat, the new question. And so if you haven't got time now, if you're watching what's going on, have a look later on, tag someone that might be interested in all of those music tips, and we'll go on to Maria.
Okay, so for anyone who is not aware, Mote is a Google Chrome extension. So it's a third-party product that works so well with the Google Workspace. And as you can see, there's a few new additions as well, which I'll go into. It is basically a tool to use for audio feedback or add-in audio. And I love it because I love it for creating connection with the students, for them to have audio feedback of my own voice rather than written, but also for the accessibility features as well. And as I go through, you'll see all the different ways that it can cater for that. Also, it is time efficient as well, actually. Just add that in for teachers giving feedback. It's a lot quicker to give it verbally. It does give a bit of a transcript as well of what you're saying, so they can read and hear it. And you can also create a bank of responses as well, which is even more time efficient. Okay, so do Google Docs. As I've said, in the comment field, you can give feedback by comments, but now they've also got a hypermote. So instead of going into a comment and replying with a comment, you could literally just say, you could use this for spelling, for example. So you could highlight a word, and then you could give an audio cue of how to pronounce that word, and then they just have to click on that word and it's already hyperlinked for them for it to play. So they don't have to go into the comment field anymore. So you have to, using that as feedback, but also as other additional ways. Google Slides, of course, you can now use that. Well, it's been there for a while, using that as audio. So you could use that to add any instruction, read out all the instruction for those that need that kind of support, but also add any information. Or if your students have Mote, then they can also add information on Google Slides for collaboration as well. With Google Forms, so that's a product that is more than just surveys, right, Chris? More than just a quiz or survey tool. And now Google Mote I really love that they've incorporated this feature. So for accessibility, you can use Moat to read out the questions, but now they've also added that you can hear the answer options as well read out to them. So such a fantastic feature, such a great way of catering for differentiation in the classroom. I love it. Google Sheets is also, it's available in Google Sheets again as a comment field. Google Sites and Canva isn't Canva, that should be, sorry, not Canvas. It's new. So you're able to add information like a link. So it's not quite like Hypernotes. It is just like if you were linking to a site, but you're linking to an audio recording. So again, you can use that for scaffolding for learning or extra tidbits of information. You could use it that way, or even sound effects if you wanted to. Google Classroom, you can use that for instruction and also giving comment feedback, as you can do in Google Docs and Google Sheets. Moat you can use in Gmail now, so you can do an audio response instead of having to write it. You could just do just a Moat response and not have to type anything. The receiver will see the transcript, so they have the option of reading or listening to it, of course. And another new feature is that you can now add audio to PDFs and images, which is so cool. If you're sending out stuff into Google Classroom, for example, pushing it out to your students, you could put instructions what you want them to maybe do with this image. I mean, you could think about, Juliet, if you were using an image as a writing seed, and you could add some sound effects to it as part of that seed, or you could add instructions of what you wanted them to do with this writing piece, or give them a few things that they may need to focus on. It just caters for that differentiation, that different, bringing in more senses to every piece of learning. They've got sound, they've got visual, they've got text. So I believe it scaffolds for more success. On the next page, I'm going very quickly because people have got links so they can see the information here. I've suggested a few resources, So Moat have their own learning hub, and on that learning hub, they have a whole series of different type of templates. They've also done a bit of collaboration with Slides Mania, who create templates for Google Slides and PowerPoint for that matter. And so, there's a bit of collaboration going on there between Slides Mania and adding audio to it, and also their own templates, and other people have also shared some resources there. I would highly recommend looking at the Moat Teachers Facebook page. A lot of sharing going on there as well. 5 ideas to use Moat in the primary classroom. That's all linked. That's a good site to look at. Another cool thing as well that I've recently learned about is Moat you can also send out as a QR code, so not just a hyperlink, and you can get them to scan and listen to the audio as well. So there's some resources taking advantage of that, which is pretty cool. And of course, Ranger the trainer, Leslie and I know him through Global GEG. He has a whole YouTube playlist of all things Moat, and as they've brought out different features, etc., it's quite extensive. Quick, short bits of information, really worth looking at. So the Hypernote, I've got a link there. So that's Gary Garcia and his EdTech and Beyond. So that was his resource that I've borrowed. 5 ideas for using Moat in the primary classroom is just Moat and Alina, because she is an Australian Moat ambassador. She's higher than an ambassador, sorry. representation, Australian representation. And Rang the Trainer, of course, as I've already mentioned, for his YouTube playlist. It is a really quick really quick extension to use. I really recommend just having a play, little step by little step, but really worth exploring. And it's free.
Thanks, Maria.
I did that so fast. I've still got 6 minutes.
Well, that's okay. What I was thinking, here, I've just popped that onto Twitter. How will you use Moat for your class? And forget that it was A2 because I was doing this quite late. That's question 4, answer 4. How will you use Moat for your class? So we'd love your response as well. So either now or in a little while, tag someone that you think would be interested in Moat. So that just about wraps us up for this evening. Thank you so much, Claire and Juliet, for coming along. And Maria, thank you so much. Chris, always supportive.
No, I saw your little ukulele lessons, the ukuleleans.
Aha.
Like,
all right.
Here it comes.
I won't do it.
Oh, I would.
We're recording. Can't hear you.
Can't hear you. Damn it, Betcha.
can you hear that?
No, you're not close enough to the microphone.
Oh, you know what it is? This is the wonderful thing about the noise reduction in Google Meet.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Seriously. Like, I've got noise reduction turned on now. It's supposed to, like, if the guy next door mows his lawn or something, you can't hear it. But
Still can't hear it.
this is like an invisible phantom ukulele. You can't hear it. But if I go into the settings and turn off the noise reduction,
Then you'll hear it.
find where it is. Video, audio. Like, that noise reduction, that's the best example of noise reduction I've ever seen. Like, because it literally makes this invisible.
Yes.
Mary's on. Mary's on. What have you got?
Mary's got a violin.
Have you got
I'm waiting for you to turn. I haven't spoken a word. I'm waiting for you to turn off the record button.
Really? The violin. Come on, Mary.
We're ready. We're ready.
Come on, we want the
Come on,
violin.
hit the violin. You want me to turn it off?
No.
Okay. Turn it off. Start jamming.